Tokyo, Japan. My name is Gary Verheller, and I'll be your host for what we call the Substance of Living podcast. Today, we'll look at what we call life's lessons. And I hope this will provide you with some insight, maybe even some inspiration to life's challenges. Welcome to episode 43, entitled Motivation, Part 3. Now, in Part 1, we talked about motivation and how it's a feeling and how we can't control our feelings. Feelings come and feelings go. And that motivation is purely guesswork, even when you attempt to understand what motivates yourself. And it takes lots of time and effort to really think about that for yourself. As far as determining the motivation of others, good luck, because that's real guesswork. No one I know of can dive into the brain of another person and know what they're thinking. It just doesn't happen. And then the previous episode, episode 42, is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we talked about the 5 levels: the physical needs, water, air, food, sleep, and then the safety needs, clothes to protect you from the environment, a shelter to protect you from environment and maybe wild animals, and then free from danger. And the third need, which is belonging, the need to belong. We're social animals. The fourth need is self-esteem. That's a worthwhile life of value. And then the fifth is self-actualization, but that's almost perfection. And there's only perfect moments. No one is perfect all the time. So now I'd like to go into another area of study on motivation by a doctor, a psychologist, social psychologist by the name of Hertzberg. Now, this research had been done all over the world to determine what motivates people. And interestingly enough, he came up with 2 different groups. There were hygiene factors. That sounds rather strange. You mean I should wash my body? No. Hygiene factors means this just maintains life. And these are needed to ensure no dissatisfaction. Let me repeat that. Hygiene factors are needed to assure no dissatisfaction. Pay and benefits. A lot of people think pay is a motivator. No. Pay can be a demotivator. And the motivation lifespan of money is very short. For example, let's say I give you a raise, 10% a month. This month, I'll increase you by 10%, you get a raise. So this month you're like, woohoo, a raise, yeah. Next month, yeah, I got a raise. In 6 months you'd be, yeah, I have a raise. It just loses its motivation power. In fact, just the opposite can happen. I and my friend Ron are doing the very same job. We have the same experience. We have the same background. We're doing the same quality work, and he gets more pay. It can demotivate me. So pay and benefits that's one of the hygiene. You have to have it in order to assure no dissatisfaction. Company policy, relationship with coworkers, supervision, status, job security, and working conditions. All of those are hygiene. You have to have them, and yet they have to be quality to assure no dissatisfaction. Okay, so what's the other group? The other group are motivation factors, motivator factors. These are factors that are needed to motivate people. 1, achievement. 2, recognition, being recognized. 3, the work itself, it has value. 4, responsibility. And that means people are recognizing and respecting you. Promotion, that's another form of recognition and respect by being promoted. And growth, what kind of growth? Intellectual growth, professional growth as a professional in your particular field, could be physical to make sure that you're healthy and well. These all help to motivate people. What are the top 3? Well, in research around the world, in every culture, in every country, they found that the big 3 are respect, recognition, worthwhile work. Let me say that again. Respect, recognition, worthwhile work. Here's a secret. You can show respect and recognize a person's value, and it won't cost you a penny, not 1 yen. How? Thank you for, and be specific. By saying thank you to someone, you're recognizing that someone has done something and you appreciate it. And you're respecting the fact that they did that. You just say thank you for, and you're specific with your thank you. It is amazing. And my wife and I have been practicing this for years. For the last 25 years, we've been practicing this. Simply because we believe it's the right thing to do. It's not like, look at me, I'm a good person. No. On the contrary, I am doing my best to recognize how, because of other people's efforts, I benefit. The person that's sweeping the steps to the entrance to the subway, they've cleaned the way for me. Thank you for that. The cashier at the supermarket, I'm thinking of one woman in particular who was very professional, but had that professional. And we say, I love your hair today. And she smiled, and both my wife and I, what a brilliant smile. You've got a great smile. Thank you for that. And she was just, and now she smiles all the time when we see her. It makes for a better life when you recognize people and you respect people for who they are. Worthwhile work. That sometimes can be tough. And it's important. And I mentioned this in episode 42, and I'll mention it again. I work at a science museum called Mirai-kan. Mirai means future and kan means container. So it's home of the future. All the newest science and technology in Japan. And we have a mission. It's called the Tsunagari mission. Tsunagari in Japanese means to have a connection or a link. I like the word relationship over time. So it's a mature, developed relationship. Our target is to help every visitor discover their own personal relationship with this planet of life. And what every person can do to help sustain Earth. Because if we sustain Earth, particularly Earth's environment, we therefore sustain the human species. That's worthwhile work. My own company, Inspire, my vision for my company, and this gives me hope. I want to help improve human communication, to improve human interaction in order to improve quality of life. That's my vision for my little company. And that's the vision I share with everybody that works with me. That's purpose, that's vision. And if you have a purpose, if you have a vision, it makes life so much better. For example, and this is an example I gave in other episodes, and I'll do it here too. Imagine I'm your doctor, and you come to me and I say, I'm really sorry. We've done the test 5 times. I've brought in outside experts, and the results are all the same. You have 2 weeks to live. What would you do? Watch television? I don't think so. Go to movies? I doubt it. Read the newspaper? I don't think so. Typically, when I pose this situation to people, my executives that I coach or people that I'm a life coach for, I'll say, what would you do? And almost everyone says, I would get my affairs in order to make sure that the people that survive me, people I care about, people I love, won't suffer because of my death. And I want to tell everybody, I want to reach out to every person in my life who means something to me. And I want to let them know how much they've meant to me and how lucky I was to have them in my life. You see what happens when you have a purpose, all the nonsense just drops away. And you have a vision, you have a direction to go in. And as mentioned before, if you have no purpose, if you have no direction, you're like a car without a steering wheel. Lots of power, lots of energy, going nowhere. So my suggestion is discover what motivates you. And my guess is it's going to be respect, recognition, work of value, and have a vision for your life, a purpose, a life purpose. If you do that, it's going to open up avenues for you, and you'll be working for yourself as well as for that company. Discover your purpose. Discover what motivates you. Thanks. Thank you for joining us today for the Substance of Living podcast. If you'd be kind enough to consider subscribing, you can contact us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or connect on Twitter. Join us again next time for what I hope will help you navigate life.